at the EHA meeting, other studies of interest, I think, in the studies in development phase or ongoing, were two that I just want to touch on, Sophie. One is the LIGHTHOUSE study led by my colleague, Dr. Mary V. Mateus, and this is a phase 3 study of melflufen combined with dexamethasone and daratumumab versus daratumumab and dexamethasone in patients with relapsed refractory myeloma. And this phase 3 study is currently up and running, but most recently has been put on a partial clinical hold by the FDA pursuant of the results of the OCEAN study. And the reason I think to mention this, because the OCEAN study was a non-inferiority study comparing pomalidomide and dexamethasone to melflufen and dexamethasone in relapsed refractory myeloma after lenalidomide failure. And in that study, whilst the progression-free survival benefit most recently has been shown to be in favor of the melflufen-dexamethasone, there were subset analyses for survival that showed if you hadn't received prior high-dose melphalan and a transplant, the outcomes by re-exposure to melflufen immediately in the aftermath of high-dose therapy and lenalidomide maintenance were not good in terms of overall survival. But if you hadn't received a transplant and you were on lenalidomide but had not been previously exposed to high-dose melphalan, you actually did much, much better. So as everyone's trying to make sense of these data, what does that mean? The LIGHTHOUSE study is currently on a partial hold, but I'm very optimistic that once the analyses around the subgroups is properly thought through and worked out, we'll be in a position to continue this important trial, which will be looking at the benefit of melflufen and daratumumab combined compared to daratumumab alone in relapsed refractory disease. And just to remind everyone, this is informed by the ANCHOR study, which has shown really impressive combination results with melflufen, which is a targeted peptide drug conjugate delivering an alkylator warhead to the myeloma when combined with daratumumab in the ANCHOR study was shown to be very active. So very hopeful that the LIGHTHOUSE study on the one hand will be open to fresh enrollment and at the same time generate positive results for melflufen but combined with daratumumab and so obviously benefit patients. But so it's important to note that when you have something like a partial hold, obviously that's critical to process and do properly. And I applaud the FDA for taking the position of safety first. But I'm hopeful that as this is all worked out, we'll be in a position to move forward with melflufen, which appears, and certainly in the relapsed refractory and currently accelerated approval setting, melflufen in clinical practice is clearly showing benefit in those appropriate patients in whom all lines of other therapy or major other classes of treatment have failed them.